We welcome to the Faulkner Focus today Sheriff Jesse Slaughter. Thank you for being with me. Sheriff, you're jumping ship from the Democratic Party. Why now?
Well, thank you for having me, Harrison. I think the answer is simple. I never left the Democratic Party. They left me, to quote Ronald Reagan. You know, their policies, their radical, defund law enforcement. And now in my county, we have elected officials and candidates who are aligning themselves with Antifa. And we have a relatively safe community. We're not suffering from what Chicago and my partners in the Northwest are suffering with. But we don't want to go there either.
And what are officers and deputies telling you? I mean, I have to imagine that through the unions and through friendships, relationships, that you all talk to each other across the country. So while it may not touch where you are in Montana, you are certainly aware of what's happening.
Absolutely. We are absolutely aware of it. You know, we have friends, we have family members who are working in, the Pacific Northwest, Seattle, Portland. And those areas are suffering horrific violence, anti-law enforcement everywhere. And the key thing that I think that is important about that is they're leaving. They're leaving, they're coming to work for places like us. And what about those poor citizens? What about those citizens that are left there? You know, it seems like the Democrats' solution to everything is gun control. Let's take the arms away from the citizens, and then let's disrespect and defund law enforcement. And somehow that's going to become a solution. And what's their end game? Who's going to enforce the law?
Such a great question. You know, the President of the United States is going to focus on that very thing you just talked about, gun control, today when he speaks. And he may think it's part of the answer. You're saying, no, as law enforcement, it's not. I want to show you this. Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler announced his plan, Sheriff, to reduce enforcement of low-level traffic offenses in an attempt to reduce radical disparities. It's an interesting thing, saying this will instead focus on enforcing traffic violations that are a direct threat to public safety and follow new consent search procedures that create more documentation and provide more information to people who are being asked for their consent to a search. What's your reaction to that?
You know, as far as on that specific issue, I think that's probably unique to every different community requires different law enforcement angles. Each community is different. And I think that's important. The people govern us in this country. We do not govern them. So we operate at the consent of our community. And for me to speak about what that mayor is doing would be irresponsible, because maybe in his community, that's what his community is telling him that they need to do. But in my community, we stand for law and order, and we expect our criminals to be held accountable to maintain public safety.
Well, it sounds like they need some of that up in Portland, Oregon, because if you've been watching what's unfolded there, I mean, we had 75 days in a row last year of just flat out rioting and looting, and those peaceful protesters didn't stand a chance with those insurgents among them. But I want to get to this now, because now it's like it's a battle. And as you get ready to jump from one party to the next and run as a Republican, this is some of what awaits you as part of their argument. It's backlash to some comments from former member of Obama's 21st Century Policing Task Force, Brittany Packnett Cunningham.
This rising crime is not the fault of the movement. It's actually the fault of the police. Why should we keep funding systems and institutions that keep rendering themselves ineffective?
There's more. Thomas Mungier, president of the Police Benevolent Association of New York State Troopers, fired back with this.
This rhetoric that we're hearing, if it wasn't so sad, it would be laughable. When you handcuff the police, when you slash their budgets, what do you expect? Their defend the police crowd are looking around, shaking their heads, and they're pointing at us as the ones responsible, when in fact, it was their actions that brought us to this spot.
I want to get a quick reaction to you from what's unfolding in terms of this topic, morale. And then I have some really heartbreaking video to show you right after that. But first of all, what are your thoughts on where we are with how people treat the police, how they think of you?
Well, I think this is a huge mistake that we're making across America, is that we think that people, the citizens of America, want to defund the police, and they do not. I guarantee you this is less than 1% of America that are part of this movement. The problem is the Democratic Party is pushing the movement. The party is pushing it. I have friends, I have family members, I have my in-laws, I have close family members who are Democrats, and they don't believe in this at all. This is where go back to that where we start looking at what the minority of America, very, very small percentage. When I say minority, I mean by percentage versus the majority and what they want. And the majority of America does not want this. They don't believe in defunding the police. They know we need them. The fact of the matter is that we are the citizens. The citizens are us. Every day in my job, the citizens of this great county help me serve. They in many, many, many capacities,
So,
and I
Sheriff,
know they do across America.
I want to say this, and I don't mean to cut in, but I know I have to let you go, but I want you to look at this video for a moment. It's in Flint, Michigan, a police officer on the ground. You can't even see his face. He's sobbing. That's him in the center of the screen there. Unable to stand in anguish after shooting and killing a woman. We are not airing the audio because of the foul languages that is spewed by the witnesses shooting this. The Flint, Michigan police, in a statement, say they are investigating. They say the officer was working a traffic point for the Juneteenth celebration parade and was fired upon by the lone occupant of a vehicle. The officer returned fire, striking the suspect, who was then treated at a local hospital and later died. That police officer was not injured, nor were any bystanders. Fox News has reached out to the victim's family for a statement, but has not heard back. I mean, you put it so crisply, Sheriff Slaughter. We are you and you are us. We are in this together. And if anybody has any doubt, look at that man. I mean, he is destroyed there emotionally over what he had to do in his job. I want to get your reaction to that.
Yeah, Harris, taking someone's life is never anything that we take lightly in law enforcement. From having been there myself throughout my career, I can tell you that it's not something that emotionally is easy to deal with or easy for people to understand. And that officer right there, it just realized that he's, basically made the ultimate sacrifice for his community, and it's not an easy thing to do. We take it very, very, very seriously, and I hope that people pray for him and look out for him. And that video brings me to one point I'd like to make to the community, Harris, is I see a lot of times these videos, and I'm not asking the public to put themselves in danger. That's our job. But we see these cell phone videos all the time. And, instead of videoing that, get out of your car and help that officer, give that officer a hug, because they care about you just as much as, you care about them. And I think that those things are important, is that we understand that, we see so much of this video and it's easy to hide behind a camera.
Yeah.
But, we need your help.
Sheriff Slaughter, you have humanized a situation that so many people are fighting over right now who may not be able to see it through your eyes, and we appreciate your time. And politically, Democrats had better pay attention to what's happening. Here in New York, Republicans changed their party affiliation in the primary to make sure that they got what they wanted, and they knew Democrats were probably going to win as next mayor. When you look at the breakdown of what happened, the former cop, former Republican, is atop the pack after that primary yesterday, and now you're jumping ship too to join Republicans. We'll see. We won't call it a trend, but it is happening. Sheriff Slaughter, thank you for your time.
Thank you. God bless.
God bless you.